Welcome to Rant Nation, where I rant about controversial topics and react to whatever I think is important, usually anything related to nerd culture and whatnot. Today, I'm doing another live review. Anything I watch I have never seen before. I don't know what's going on other than the headline. I've seen the headline. So what's going on right now is we're doing a 2-in-1. Final Fantasy coming to the Switch. That's all I know. I don't know the details. We're going to find out. And I also know that Streets of Rage 4 is coming out. And there's a trailer for it. And, this, I mean, it's a little, what is it, like 20 years late? I've been waiting 20 years for Streets of Rage 4. I don't know why they didn't make a 4 for the Dreamcast. That would have been a system seller if they had made Streets of Rage 4 for the Dreamcast. Although, seems Pirated Games screwed that system over. I mean, that would have been the ideal time to do it. Or maybe the Saturn. If it was a launch title for the Saturn, maybe that thing would have actually sold. So here it is. Final Fantasy games
Final
announced
Fantasy comes
for the
to
Switch.
Nintendo Switch. Kupo!
And I should point out, it's been a long time since a real Final Fantasy game has come to Nintendo. The ones for the Wii, yeah, they were Final Fantasy, but they weren't part of the real Final Fantasy series. They weren't, Final Fantasy in chronological order. So I count those as the real Final Fantasy games, okay? They didn't get that on the Wii. Crystal Chronicles. Okay, there you go. That's the one. Remastered.
15 years after its debut, the co-op action RPG Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles is being
15 years.
remastered for Nintendo Switch.
Okay, it's remastered.
With the new online multiplayer mode, you and your friends can connect and adventure together.
Oh, that's
no link
amazing.
cable required. On top of that, there are new areas inside dungeons, so even returning fans can explore the unknown. Final
I'd
Fantasy
buy that.
Crystal Chronicles Remastered Edition will
I'd buy
launch
that.
in 2019. Way before then, players can experience
The online
entire
edition was
world
needed
and story
for the
of the
Wii.
latest entry in the core series. That's right. Final Fantasy 15 Pocket Edition HD launches later today.
I
on
ain't never
Nintendo
played that
eShop
before. I
at an
think that's
introductory
kinda-
price.
I don't think that's all that great. Final Fantasy 15
A
sucks
leveled
anyway.
up version of World of Final Fantasy is also on the way. This title includes a new feature called Avatar Change, which allows you to transform into legendary characters from across the series' storied history.
Okay. Nothing
Many
too
fan
special
favorites will
there.
show up in the world of Final Fantasy Maxima when it releases on November 6th.
They're calling it Maxima, okay? I
In
never
addition,
got into that
more
game.
Chocobo's Dungeon is on the
Chocobo's
way.
Dungeon?
2007's Final Fantasy Fables Chocobo's Dungeon
That's an
returns in
underrated
superior
game.
fashion.
Like that for the
Now,
PlayStation.
you can befriend all the monsters. Also, by sharing Joy-Con controllers, you can play cooperatively as well.
Oh.
Chocobo's Mystery Dungeon,
How would that
everybody
two-player work,
launches
though?
this
Two-player
winter.
co-op.
Final Fantasy XII is coming to a Nintendo system for the first time. Its real-time battle system is
Sorry
a
about that,
standout
I
in the
have,
series, offering the ultimate in both freedom and strategy. This remaster comes loaded with a host of extra features, including a speed mode that lets you pick up the pace of your adventure. There's much to discover in the expansive world of Evilus.
Speed
And
mode.
now you can explore it on the couch or on the go. Final Fantasy XII, The Zodiac Age launches in 2019.
Wow. That's cool. That's
Which
cool
reminds
too.
me. Later on,
Oh,
you'll also
whoa.
be able to enjoy these other classics and their
What?
iconic scenes anytime, anywhere.
What? Final Fantasy 7,
Final Fantasy 7,
9,
9,
10?
and 10, 10-2
And
HD
10 too?
Remaster are coming to Nintendo Switch in 2019.
Yo, that music there though, that's from that music. Yo, that music there was from that's the Red Wings theme song, isn't it? From Final Fantasy 2? No, Red Wings? No. I don't know. Maybe they reused that in several Final Fantasy games, but for some reason it triggers me back to Final Fantasy 2. So I thought that there was going to be a Final Fantasy 2 game. They only announced so for the retro, they had 7, which is they're hyping it up for the remake of 7, which is coming out as well. So I guess they're gonna. That's genius that they're gonna simultaneously release them, because if you're buying the remastered 7 for the PS4, hell, you're gonna go buy the 7 for Switch. You know you're gonna do it. Of course you are. What kind of psychopath wouldn't buy it? If you have a Switch, you're gonna buy Final Fantasy VII. It's by default. You have to. You might not want to, but you have to. You don't have a choice. Final Fantasy IX, you kind of have a choice. That is, Final Fantasy IX is probably the most underrated of all of the Final Fantasy games. So there's that. Final Fantasy X, masterpiece. Just a masterpiece. But we all know what's going on here. Final Fantasy VIII is missing. Probably for a good reason, perhaps. It's not the most loved of the Final Fantasy games. And I'm going to admit something here. When I first bought it, I do believe it's a little bit underrated, because one aspect that I liked about 8 was that they kind of tried to eliminate grinding. You didn't have to grind. You didn't have to level up, because the game kind of balanced itself out. If you were level 1, then, it would tweak the monsters to your level. And yeah, I mean, so here's the thing. Here's my confession, though. I bought that game when it first came out. Long time ago. PlayStation 1. And I just couldn't get into it. I couldn't do it. I tried so hard to just keep playing it, and I just couldn't do it. And I'll tell you why. What the biggest flaw was, there was too much open world, quote, open world exploration. It took too long to run around that campus. It took too long to run around the towns, driving the car, running out of gas. Everything took too long. Exploration wise. If they could find a way to change that, it would have done better. Because storyline wise, it's not bad. It's a good game. The story doesn't suck. There's other aspects of the game that do suck. And the card game, by the way, remember that card game? That was actually a really fun game. I don't remember what it's called, but that was a fun game. Really cool invention. So anyways, frig, I don't know, man. I give this trailer a 7 for Final Fantasy 7. And it doesn't get any higher because it was also missing Final Fantasy Tactics. Which, man, I played that game so much. I was so into that. I put so many hours into that game, and I was having so much fun that when I beat the game, I didn't even know I was at the end. And I was actually pissed off when it, probably when the credits showed up or something, when I finally realized that this was the ending of the game and that the game was over. I was clueless. I had no idea I was even near the end. I thought I was maybe 50% through the game when it just, to me, it abruptly ended. And my characters were so OP and so powerful at the time. I was using the monk. My main character, I was using the monk a lot. I barely even got to train Cloud. I feel like I had just gotten Cloud. And that robot. And then the game ended. I was training up the robot. I was having fun with him. And it ended. So I thought it might be funny to kind of review some of the comments. I've now gone ahead and found found out what the users are saying about this trailer, about these Final Fantasy games. There's some really funny stuff out there. So here's a funny comment from Techactus. 8 is better than 7. If you want to fight me, about it, grab a ticket. Line starts back there. To which he got a couple of responses. One response. Night Porter. Looking at miles long line. Yeah, I think I'll leave them to it. Okay. So, you know what? I think the guy's being serious too. Cactus is being serious because there are some people out there. Look at this guy, Sonic XP. To be honest, 8 is my second favorite. Still is. So there are people out there. I'm telling you, there are people out there. They think 8's really good. Here's the guy's comment. Aqua Regis. I really enjoyed 8. The menu was a miserable monstrosity, and Skull was a miserable fudge, but I really enjoyed the story. The world was large and had plenty to do, and the music was fantastic. He's right about the music, and arguably one of the best soundtracks of all time in Final Fantasy games, not to mention the draw and junction system. I don't know if I agree with him on that. Here's a great comment, which is kind of what I was alluding to earlier. He says, I think this is the first time a mainline Final Fantasy game has been on a Nintendo console in well over 20 effing years, guys. Final Fantasy VII in particular is funny considering that was the game the Square used to defect from Nintendo so many years ago. He is correct. He is correct, guys. Final Fantasy VII was originally supposed to be on the N64. It was going to be a Nintendo exclusive. Final Fantasies were always Nintendo exclusives back in the day, and they had tremendous success being exclusives. However, when Squaresoft saw the console specs and they saw that they couldn't do what they wanted to do with the game due to console limitations, they said, F it, we're done. F you, Nintendo, we're done, we're cutting ties, we're going over to Sony, who uses CDs because you effing twats are using cartridges still, which I love. Many do. We wish that they were still being used, but sadly, back in the day, cartridges were too heavily flawed. You needed CDs. Technology's changed now. That's why the Switch is on cartridge. But so I'm gonna make another comment. It turns out, people are speculating that the reason Final Fantasy VIII was not is not coming to the Switch is because of rights related to the song Eyes on Me. Apparently they've lost the rights. The singer who did it, the rights have fallen into some other hands, and I just don't see why they don't just remove the song. If that's the case, get rid of the song, change it with something else. It's that simple. So please like the video and subscribe if you want to see more. Check out both my channels, Rant Nation and Party Game Network.